She went upstairs and took her clothes off and got up on the stage and started to dance. Samantha was staring at her, laughing, but when the bartender came over and politely told her to get down, Sam wasn't laughing anymore. Mr. Big called at 8 a.m. He sounded tense. I got a phone call this morning. Someone said they saw you dancing topless at the baby doll lounge. Oh, really? How did they know it was me? They knew. Are you mad? Why didn't you tell me? Are you mad? I'm mad that you didn't tell me. How can we have a relationship if you can't be honest? How can I know to trust you? I'm the one person you can trust. Hi folks, still dog sitting. That's going fine. It's a team effort. Down, down. Topless at the baby doll lounge? Oh. Okay. Once upon a time, a charming prince learned about the 3 most powerful women in New York. Tina Brown, Diane Sawyer, or even Rosie O'Donnell. God, the 90s were slim pickings, weren't they? Gracing the annals of power, be sure to remember the face of the hostess at the new IT restaurant, Balzac. Given the fascinator she's wearing, I have to assume this is a reference to some sort of racehorse.
We've been waiting for 45 minutes.
Whatever the horse's profession, it has excellent taste, as Samantha and Carrie aren't allowed inside.
I own my own PR firm. You write a newspaper column. This should not be happening.
Samantha apparently owns the PR firm.
Samantha's PR firm was handling the opening.
I didn't think she could afford health insurance. It is ironic that I didn't know she owned her own PR firm. Samantha must be as good at PR as Carrie is at writing. Given how good Carrie is at her job, maybe Samantha would be better at writing too.
Once upon a time...
With how full those glasses are, I can't imagine the 45 minutes they've spent waiting have been completely wasted.
I think I'm gonna faint.
Poor choice of words, maybe. I guess as long as they're not being belligerent, it's fine.
I'm going back up there.
Security! Samantha goes back up there, but Morticia isn't having it. She's also on the phone in a clearly busy indoor space. Obviously, this means that the person just doing their job is being mean to Samantha. Samantha decides she'll catch more flies with condescension than honey. She ambitiously implies that both she and Carrie are someone's, with the implied threat of asking to see the manager.
I'm sorry.
Look, we're all sorry. This lady didn't become an Addams by being a pushover though, and Samantha is sent back to the starting gates, otherwise known as waiting one's turn. Carrie finishes a previously full drink, giving us a baseline of about 1 drink every 2 minutes. This averages about 22 drinks over the 45 minutes she's been there, with about a minute to sit down and order. Samantha averages a much more restrained 2 minutes 15 seconds for each of her drinks, which is about 20 drinks on the nose. In a photo finish, the pair leave in a huff. Samantha threatens to move to New Jersey, compounding the misery of an already unlucky people. That being said, I think Samantha Jones would make a pretty sterling mob wife.
Is over lunch somewhere else? Or somewhere like New Jersey where we might actually get seated? Do you realize? If she were a man, not only would we be eating right now, but they'd be sending over free drinks.
Yes, Samantha, the real problem with women in power is that you can't manipulate them for roughly 4.5 minutes worth of alcohol. This scene is noteworthy, however, as it shows Carrie as the rare voice of reason. I mean, granted, it's just suggesting they get lunch somewhere else, but it's still pretty reasonable. I knew you could do it, Carrie. A Dolce & Gabbana window front earned the product placement lady a career, and condemns that of the designers, in more ways than one. These include these fuzzy shoes, which, as a straight man who chooses to dress like this deliberately, are objectively horrid. Whoever made these ought to be embarrassed. Carrie's trying them on. The shoes are almost as abhorrent as Carrie's new theory, creative consumption.
This theory I had about shopping as a way to unleash the creative subconscious.
Capitalism is one thing, Carrie, but imagine trying to take credit for the concept of consumerism. Carrie, fickle as Mr. Ed's elitist grill, is already turning sour on the shoes at the checkout when this heterosexual man cuts up her credit card. And the credit card company would like a word with her. Once again, I am vindicated in my leopard print theory. Maybe I'm not vindicated, maybe that leopard print is popular and the show is just consistently devastating. Carrie blows off the credit card company because this mysterious hand has offered to buy the shoes for her. All that's left to do is hang up the phone. The issue's resolved. The woman in question is Amelita, either a model or a sugar baby. It's hard to tell. These two are what passes for friends in this universe, and so have no compunction sticking the bill with Fabio, a man who likes to look at coat hangers. I know what you're thinking, and I'm right there with you. I look forward to hearing this man's speaking part. Where's that thing on the wall? Some sort of raincoat.
Very, very wealthy. He has a tiny little penis, but he knows exactly how to use it.
Don't worry, Fabio. She does respect you, despite telling this relative stranger all about your tiny penis. At least she says he knows how to use it, which is more mercy than most people around here get. For some reason, he also enjoys being entertained by sounds and movement at random intervals.
Oh. Wave, darling, wave. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Oh look, he's happy. Depending on your sense of self-respect, this may be more or less dignified than the book's representation. He was so cute, I f***ed him, and she found out. She had the nerve to be upset. He was a lousy lay. She should have been happy to have someone take him off her hands. Carrie, in her so far tour de force of an episode, tries to resist the gift. Amelita insists, however, saying that she's never bought Carrie anything, which arguably is still the case. Amelita is done speaking English and buying things, so that's Carrie's cue to get out of there.
Era tanto bello vederti. Ciao, ci chiamiamo.
I couldn't understand a word she was saying.
Carrie, that's so rude. Just because it's not English doesn't mean it's nonsense. She's speaking to you. Carrie returns home, where she's confronted with a stack of bills. Don't worry, Carrie knows exactly where these live. That's exactly right, Carrie. Put them in the bin.
I envied Amelita. Her life was a blur of rich men, designer clothes, and glamorous resorts.
Carrie, you have the life of Amelita. Rich men, tick. Designer clothes, tick. The horse-restaurant didn't work out, but that's 2 out of 3.
She didn't actually work for a living.
Carrie, you barely work for a living.
Once upon a time. Where's the line between professional girlfriend and just plain professional?
Ooh, a premise. I'm sure everyone involved with this episode will be very respectful around this issue. Actually, I'm curious to hear Fabio's thoughts on this. Fabio?
Darling, wave. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Carrie's the cool girl at her poker night, drinking a Corona beer. Thanks, Ruthie. In fact, that's a lot of beer all round. See, women do like beer. I knew Amy Dunn was lying. More so. Depending on your point of view, Carrie is either saving money by staying in or earning money by hustling her friends. Great news for gambling addicts trying to justify themselves. The gang is playing the bad kind of poker while they discuss the ethics on using your looks to advance your career. And then a flashback to a reclusive painter turns the whole thing into a crime scene reenactment.
2 days ago, Neville Morgan, the notoriously reclusive painter, paid a visit to the gallery.
Neville was...
As I watched the boring flashback about an old man I didn't know, I couldn't help but wonder, was this the last of the experimental film techniques of the episode? Or was this old master the beginning of a renaissance? Charlotte has been noticed by a famously reclusive and famously famous artist. Currently, he's being milked by Charlotte for all he's worth. At this stage, an invitation upstate to visit his compound, or farm. With artists, it's hard to tell. I'd be suspicious.
If I could get him to show at the gallery, it would be an incredible coup, but what if he
Charlotte,
wants
Charlotte, there is a clown right behind you. Don't let it distract you.
Lorena Bob. It's Skipper.
Skippy! Oh, he's here. And he's only buzzing the doorbell twice. He's learning.
A sweet little seal pup that you sometimes want to club.
Okay, Miranda's threatening to club Skippy like a seal pup. I think it's time to get him out of there.
Hello, girls. Hey.
Power pose. Hour early to your house power pose. Miranda takes the opportunity to stop losing money and almost flattens Skippy.
Good night, ladies.
Miranda leaves the poker game with the seemingly sincere wish to beat Skippy to death. Miranda is so obviously sick of Skippy, I'm not sure which one of them is at fault for perpetuating this. One of them should call it, right? Carrie is reading Night Train by Mike Amos, which I don't think is a reference to anything. She gets a late call from Amelita, who says she has a friend at the races that she'd like Carrie to meet. Of all people, Carrie should be aware of how off-putting a third wheel can be.
Hi, how are you?
Marvelous. Going through my second divorce. Bitch is getting everything the first bitch didn't.
Come down here and be your fabulous self.
The truth was, I could barely afford that either.
Susan Seidelman, I haven't heard of you since the first episode, and you come back directing with this?
You're not on the list.
Oh, no, I don't need a list. My friends are already in.
In horse racing, we call that podiuming. Carrie arrives at the track and is introduced to Carlo.
Carrie, I'd like you to meet my boyfriend, Carlo. Hi. And besides, it's on Carlo.
Oh.
Wait, his name is Carlo now? Thought it was Fabio. Am I the problem?
Carrie, I'd like you to meet my boyfriend, Carlo. Hi.
Oh, no, it's a new guy. I am faultless as ever. Anyway, this handsome Frenchman needs a fix-up. You are top of the list. Here he is. This one's an architect from Paris. I started to notice I get a bit cranky just before half-time. Have you noticed that? Honestly, it's fairly accurate. The first 5 minutes of these things, it's the most energy I've had all day. And then it just plummets. Carrie and Guy start flirting, and it's horrible. Luckily, the crowd is pretty generous.
Another bottle of wine.
Wonderful. And what will the rest of you be having?
That cigarette is absolutely not lit. I guess all that smoke up Carrie is coming from somewhere else. Okay, Amelita, let's calm down. Maybe it was a good idea to take away your fire. Given what this waiter is wearing, I'd like to apologise to Dolce & Gabbana. At least their designs reference a loving God. All these waiters must be so sweaty as they serve food. There is no way that fabric can breathe. After what looks to be a meal, Carrie gets walked to a mile away from her apartment. We get Carrie's address in episode 10, and that looks to be the Metropolitan Museum of Art, with Ellesworth Kelly on the roof. Oh, that could be fun. Carrie learns that Guy is divorced and is going to Brazil in a day or two, which, if anything, is more than you need to know about him. Carrie admits that writing pays well, but admittedly craters the fun, flirty mood by saying she has a substance addiction. She presents it as a joke, but the dead eyes reveal the truth. Suddenly, it all makes sense. The declined credit card, the bills in the trash, the alcoholism. Carrie has a substance abuse problem, all right. She's a shopaholic. And probably a regular alcoholic. Carrie had gone to bed at 4 in the morning, and she was terribly hungover, and kept thinking she was going to puke. Sarah told Carrie that she should probably join AA herself. The only important thing to me right now is vodka, Carrie said, putting her hands to her head. I got the worst hangover if I don't get some vodka. Carrie plunked down next to Rita, accidentally sloshing her with some vodka. I'm so damn clumsy today. Napkin, I'm shaking, Miranda said. I need a drink. After 3 cocktails, Carrie called Mr. Big. Carrie kept drinking and smoking pot until she could hardly walk. Don't touch me. Carrie drank 5 Bloody Marys on the plane, and they fought all the way home. Guy, because he's never seen this woman before and probably won't after tomorrow, decides that the path of least resistance is to laugh slightly and reschedule for a daytime date. Also, Carrie literally flies away at the end of this scene. Don't worry about it. Is everything okay at home, Susan? Like, the shoe wipe was one thing, but now Carrie has magic powers. Well, this is the 3rd time I'm trying to record this, so I guess I owe Sarah Jessica Parker an apology. SJP, I am sorry for mocking your occult powers. Please lift your curse on this recording. The most technically sound one yet, am I right, folks? Anyway, next morning, old Willy Winky is nursing her hangover when who should come a-calling but Skippy.
Is it?
Skipper.
Oh.
Hello, girls. Hey.
Wait, no, he's going. Oh wait, no, he's back. Skippy's come to complain about Miranda. Complain about how obsessed he is, that is. At least he's cognizant that his neediness is actively turning her off, so barest minimum of points for that. Ask her about the clown. Carrie promises she's listening from the other room as Skippy goes on and on about his thing with Miranda. Unfortunately, Miranda doesn't feel the same way and habitually kicks him out before he can stay the night.
I don't even shower afterwards. I like to spend the whole day smelling like Miranda.
Okay, the washing the hands bit made me chuckle. That's add that to the falling blob of food hall of fame. Carrie goes on a cinema photographically complicated date. Oh, that joke was all I needed to pep me back up. I'm loving this episode now. Carrie tries her best to ruin the mood by dropping the bomb that she has a rule. She only sleeps with men she's known for more than one day, which I guess is technically broken. The timeline we were given is that Carrie was in bed a few hours after Skippy arrived early, which is said to be at 10. Even if we only count a few as 2, that means that it was at least midnight by the time Amelita called Carrie to invite her out. Given that she and Guy met past midnight, we can conclude that they had their first and second meeting on the same calendar day within the same 24 hours. The only exception to this rule is if they were in the hotel room past midnight, but that seems unlikely as the next time we see Guy, he's waking up early to catch a flight. My betting money is, in short, that Carrie and Guy both knew each other for fewer than 24 hours and hadn't passed a calendar day together, making this statement technically true. Well done to the writing team for that one. Anyway, say what you like about Carrie, but she wakes up with very good makeup. So does he, actually. Imagine going to sleep in that tie. Carrie finds an envelope of money on the bedside table as Guy ducks out the door. Inside is $700.
With $1,000 in cash.
Is $1,000. Carrie is worried that being paid to have sex with men is sending the wrong impression. This doesn't put her off, though, inviting Miranda and Samantha to the hotel room to indulge in some complimentary room service. Even the free breakfast isn't enough to make Samantha feel better about her snubbing from the water trough. Carrie tries to defer payment twice in the episode, but this time it's Samantha insisting. We begin with another debate on the ethics of sex and money, but this time with no Charlotte to piss on everyone's parade. There's some gender determinism from Samantha, which is at least being pushed back by Miranda, so at least it makes it lively. Pay special attention to the positioning of these characters. Carrie is in the centre, which means the director is trying to tell us that she is boring.
Order another one.
As I struggled with the dilemma of how to manage my newfound money.
Pay your goddamn bills, for Christ's sake. We're so lucky that last scene was so ham-fisted. A subtler approach might tempt me to compare that conversation to these loud, obnoxious, repetitive, uninspired geese. Anyway, Agent Clarice Starling arrives safe and sound on the farm, thanks to her eerily still driver and this very important headlight. She's greeted by her artist Mark, who, despite carrying a stick, manages to keep the majority of his weirdo tendencies to himself for the time being, at least until they both enter his obscuring from vision murder barn. Safely inside, he unveils his masterpiece. A series of spread oil on canvas, each as big as a man.
Oh my.
His ostensible wife is also there, with some refreshments and some extra pressure on Charlotte to pose for one of these portraits.
I bet you have a beautiful dear.
Charlotte hated the C word.
The artist has invited Charlotte here on the off chance that she might like to pose for one of these paintings.
That the truth was to be found only in the...
They're really reclaiming that word. Quite a bit, aren't they? Back in New York, the horse's hurdle is doing brisk business, despite the hostess needing to recycle a hat now and then. Samantha has dragged Carrie back on the theory that entry to this place is like chickenpox. Failing that, Carrie can just fly them both in. The hostess has managed to find a new hat for this close-up shot, and the leopard print does what it does best, crushing someone's hopes and dreams in a symbolic fashion.
I'm sorry.
Samantha takes this as well as can be expected, and promises to one day paralyse the woman. Carrie goes to the bathroom, off camera, and on her way to the receptacle, she spies Amelita with a new entourage. Samantha's probably over her desire to get in after so many seconds, so Carrie heads over alone to say hello. Almost immediately, these sleazeballs invite her to Venice, and just as quickly begin to grope her. Being groped reminds Carrie of Samantha, with whom she belongs after all. Carrie walks away with her head held high, all the while judging the friend who got her those awful shoes to begin with. Of course, the $1,000 that she was gifted, that's different. While in the bathroom, Carrie dips into her $1,000 windfall to share a tampon with the door lady. Apparently, generosity isn't strictly limited to French architects. Anyway, the deal is leveraged for a table, with Carrie and Samantha cheersing their 2.5 minutes worth of alcohol. The gallery is having an opening, and the gang take turns guessing which vulva is that of Charlotte. In this context, the leopard print skirt Samantha is wearing is... We end with a view of the art. It's like Christmas morning around the tree. It could just be the triple recordings today, but I'm exhausted, aren't you? Charlotte kept her head down this week, if you'll excuse the choice of words, with a poker game, a ride from an automaton, and a portrait. That's really all I can say about this woman. I'm not sure if she even lost any money at the poker game. Truly unimpactful. Samantha, despite some general snobbery in the opening of the episode, was also fairly self-contained. Her obsession over that restaurant was a bit obnoxious, but harmless. That is, if you don't count the front-of-house staff who have to deal with people like Samantha, and I'm sure she doesn't. Speaking of threatened violence, Miranda and her proxy skipper were fairly absent this episode, but that doesn't mitigate things much. I'm not sure how long this thing is going to last, but hearing Miranda openly admit that she doesn't like Skippy anymore is just grueling to sit through. Whoever ends this drawn-out flop of a non-relationship will earn my eternal gratitude. Actually, Carrie had a pretty good episode this time round. Furthermore, she was multiple times the voice of reason, sometimes mercy. Maybe there's hope. It occurs to me that I've been ending these episodes with just a stream of criticism for the main four. So to remedy this, I think the male artist of this episode needs to be called out. This pompous, contrarian, blowhard's derivative work is nothing. This revolutionary artist is churning out mass-produced pieces of self-derivative garbage to sell to millionaires as a tax break for when they're inevitably loaned to a gallery, only to accumulate for a few years before the next rich arsehole decides that they want in on this scheme, and buy it for the inflated price that it was originally valued at. Right, Charlotte? You wouldn't have anything to do with that, would you? Every time this fraud uses his Panama paintings to leer at some poor woman, he strips bare the system as well, until even the Emperor has no clothes. Charlotte's active participation in this egotistical scheme is fueled by an elitist sense of self-importance, the egotistical belief that art can only be appreciated by the right kind of people. Any criticism of the work is reflected back in a circular defense of just not getting it. Charlotte's position inherently angles herself on the deliberately exclusive side of the powerful few, aligning herself with the rich who abuse the tax system through obsequious parroting of what the wealthy define as good art. Charlotte's willful exclusion of the layperson, the public even, by the discriminating metrics being used is for the express purpose of ruthless self-promotion that would make Samantha Jones blush. Wake up, Charlotte, you are a puppet. Of course, you already knew that, didn't you, Charlotte? Why else would you participate in this schlock unless you immediately benefited from it? And all the while she has the gall to sit there like she doesn't know what they're talking about when they're talking about sex and money in the workplace. Quite literally, the real professionals were the friends we made along the way. Good night. Good night. And the male artist was pretty bad too.